All right, well, happy Wednesday, Central Georgia, and happy New Year's Eve. We are turning the corner on a brand new year, so there's a lot to talk about in the forecast. Obviously, a lot of interest in being outdoors today, especially as we get towards the late night hours tonight, towards midnight. There's a lot of celebrations going on across the entire area. So let's talk about what you can expect weather-wise for New Year's Eve. Then we'll talk about the new year. We're also going to talk a little bit about rainfall from this year, from this month, and where we stand as we head into the new year. I know drought conditions have been a big topic of conversation for us over the last couple of months. So we're going to dive a little bit more into that and what we should be talking about heading into 2026. Of course, if you're unfamiliar with this stream, we do this every morning at 11 a.m. Usually meteorologist Alex Pry is here. He's still enjoying his well-earned vacation, so he will be back on Friday. Until then, I am going to hold the reins on the 11 a.m. stream. So we're going to kick it off like we always do across the sky cams this morning. 4 pictures of absolutely perfect blue sky right now. We don't have any clouds in the sky. We definitely don't have any chance of rain out there this morning, and it is just a good sight no matter where you are looking. We've got blue as can be skies at the moment, and the great news is they luckily aren't really going anywhere as we go into the rest of the day. Skies are going to look pretty good as we head into the rest of the afternoon. So I did throw this on the stream yesterday. I just wanted to kind of briefly throw this out there, mainly because I was curious if anybody out there has felt this. We did have a really small earthquake over in Hancock County on the 28th. So this was earlier on Sunday. It was around 12:52 in the afternoon. We just got the data from this yesterday from USGS, who kind of does this kind of thing with geographic information. They graph it, they do surveys on things like earthquakes. So they did rule this a 2.1 magnitude earthquake over in Hancock County, just to the east of Sparta. So I threw this on the stream yesterday. I said if anybody happened to have felt this earthquake, to feel free to let us know in our 13 WMAZ weather network. I just thought it was a little bit interesting. Obviously there was no damages, and I didn't feel it over here in Macon, so it may be more folks in Hancock County who may have felt this, but still feel free to let us know in the 13 WMAZ weather network if you happen to have feel this. I thought it was super interesting, and I just wanted to throw it on there again today in case I missed anybody yesterday who was curious about it. So back to the forecast for today. This is kind of crazy, honestly. I haven't even looked at this map just yet, but look how blue the United States is looking this morning. It is cold out there. I know we kind of kicked off this pattern of colder air yesterday, but we're still hanging on to it pretty good this morning. We had temperatures this morning that were really similar to what we felt yesterday morning, and across the U.S., we are still stuck in this much cooler pattern. Now across Central Georgia, temperatures are starting to even out a little bit. We're right now sitting in the low 40s for just about everybody. And this is kind of where we would expect to be after we kicked off the morning in the upper 20s and the low 30s. So luckily you saw the sunshine on the sky cams. There's plenty of sunshine out there right now, and we'll continue to heat up as we go throughout the rest of today. In fact, right now we're already sitting a couple of degrees warmer than we were this time yesterday. So this will actually be the trend heading into the afternoon. It will be a slightly warmer day today than it was yesterday. Yesterday was the coldest day that you're going to see on the 7-day forecast. We're working our way back towards average temperatures for this time of year. In fact, by the weekend, we'll be sitting above average for this time of year. So this kind of put this away in your memory, because this is how the next couple of days are going to feel, a little bit warmer each day and definitely more pleasant as we head into each afternoon. So winds have also played a really big part in how things feel out there over the last few days. Definitely yesterday we had wind gusts up to around 25 miles an hour. The day before that, when the front was coming through, we had wind gusts up to 35, even 40 miles an hour at times. So we've had 2 really, really breezy, gusty days, and that has really impacted how the temperatures have felt outside. So now we're starting to see these winds die down. There is still a breeze out there. Obviously, you can still see we have sustained winds right now, 5 to 10 miles an hour, and we've get wind gusts today that are up to around 15 miles an hour. This is still working our way on the downward trend of having a breeze. It is still a bit breezy out there, but definitely less noticeable than the last couple of days. And that's really important because for the last few days, we have had a very strong wind chill. Today, obviously, there's still a little bit of wind out there, so there is still a wind chill, but it's not nearly as bad as what we've seen yesterday and the day before. The feels like numbers are pretty close to actual temperature value. We just looked at the temperature map. The temperatures are all pretty much in the low 40s. When we look at the feels like numbers, they're definitely a little bit cooler than that. We've got mainly mid to upper 30s, a couple of low 40s on there. But when we were talking about this map yesterday and the day before, we were talking about feels like numbers that were 10 to 15 degrees cooler than the actual air temperature. So this is not so bad. 1 or 2 degrees difference is really not that crazy. Obviously, it's still playing a little bit of a role, but not nearly as bad as what we've seen for the last couple of days. I want you to think about wind as we go through the rest of the day because it's something we're going to be talking about as we head towards kind of the New Year's Eve forecast. So store that away, put a pin in it. We'll come back to winds here in just a couple of minutes. But here's the temperature from yesterday and where we should be sitting for this time of year. Yesterday's high temperature, 48 degrees. You'll find today is going to be warmer. And like I said yesterday, the coldest day that you're going to see on the 7-day forecast. We won't even be in the 40s again for the rest of the week. So getting warmer from here on out. I also want to pay attention to the average high temperature for this time of year because you're going to see some 60s on the 7-day forecast. You may be thinking, whoa, we're abnormally warm again for this time of year. The average high for this time of year is 59 degrees. So we're sitting around average. We will be slightly above over the next couple of days, but generally, we're not really supposed to be sitting in the upper 40s just yet. So kind of keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the forecast. Obviously, we were very far away from the record high of 83 degrees, but that actually was set just back in 2021. So kind of interesting. Now, today's high temperature will be in the 50s. So like I said, the actual air temperature will be warmer than yesterday, but without the breeze being there quite as strong, it'll also hopefully feel a little bit more like the low 50s as opposed to there being a huge wind chill. It's going to stay sunny all day long. So you saw the sunshine on the sky cams. That is going to stick with us all afternoon. You really don't have to worry about rain chances today or rain chances tonight. There is not going to be a major rain chance on our way for the rest of the evening. The satellite and radar across the southeast, extremely quiet. You can see I love to do this view because sometimes it gives you an indication of something that might be heading our direction. There is nothing heading our direction as we go throughout the rest of today. It is just a quiet southeasterly picture right now. Especially in our area, it's quiet because this is actually, believe it or not, the satellite and radar with the clouds flipped on. You may see the little tiny blip that's right there by the radar, and that actually might look like it's rain, but interestingly enough, I was looking at this earlier, it looks like that might be a little flock of birds taking off. So it is quiet as can be. The most we're picking up on satellite and radar is some birds. If we flip off the cloud cover and just let the radar run, you can see there is nothing out there, and trust me when I tell you, that will not be changing for the rest of today. New Year's Eve is tonight, so obviously people are going to be outdoors, especially in the late night hours tonight. And if that is you, you really have nothing to worry about in the way of rain chances. In fact, I think tonight is going to be exceptionally clear, so fireworks shows, things like that should be really easy to see out in the sky. We're not talking about a crazy amount of cloud cover moving in tonight that should block things. Overall, it's basically a perfect forecast in terms of the sky cover for tonight. A little bit different in the realm of temperatures because it will be really cold again. So this morning we dropped down into the upper 20s and low 30s for most when you were on your way out the door. Kind of similar feel to how things are going to feel late tonight. Not quite as cold. We'll be somewhere in the mid 30s by midnight, but it will still be pretty chilly. So heading out tonight, bundle up, grab a jacket, make sure the kids are bundled up because it is definitely going to be chilly. Again, somewhere similar to where we were early this morning. And then as we wind past midnight into the overnight hours, we will be in the low 30s in terms of low temperatures for tomorrow morning. So definitely cold tonight, but I think all things considered, it'll just add to the New Year's feel outside, and hopefully it will just be a great night for the celebrations. I know we have the Shamrock lighting in downtown Dublin. We have the Buzzard Drop in Perry, and then there are just so many other events to get out and attend. So hopefully it should be a great night for that. Again, just bundle up if you're heading outdoors because it will be chilly. But I know a lot of folks do some celebrations at home, so there's something that I do briefly want to touch on before we move on from the New Year's Eve forecast. I remember I said to put a pin in the winds. We were going to come back to them. So this is me coming back to the winds. Through today, the wind gusts, though they're not crazy strong, they're still present. We don't necessarily have completely still air out there today. We have wind gusts this afternoon that are up to about 15 miles an hour. Now the winds will die down a bit as we head towards the late night and overnight hours tonight, but like I said, there's still a little bit of a breeze out there. So I really want to pay attention to what the National Weather Service has issued today, and that is a fire danger statement. Now, if you were with us yesterday or if you were paying attention to the forecast yesterday, you may remember we were actually in a red flag warning yesterday because of how high the wind gusts were. A red flag warning is basically just saying, please do not do any sort of outdoor burning today because anything that gets sparked up can get picked up by these winds and spread very far, very, very quickly. So a fire danger statement is kind of a step down from that because the winds aren't so strong today, but they're still gusty enough that if something is to spark, the winds can pick that up and take it a good distance. So there's a lot of really dry air out there also. The relative humidity values are really, really low. All of this comes together to create a dangerous fire situation. So I know folks may know about this and may have put their outdoor burning plans on hold, which is definitely what you should do. But Something that we may not be thinking about a whole lot is also fireworks that are going to be outdoors today. Now, obviously, those big fireworks shows are not quite as much of a concern. Usually those are really high up in the air and they're regulated by the county, things like that. But if you're doing at-home fireworks, this is definitely something to think about. Try to stay away from vegetation, dry brush. If you can and you're willing, do fireworks out in the pavement or away from any sort of vegetation or anything that you think could spark quickly, because I do think we're kind of in a vulnerable position right now where if you happen to use some fireworks in an area that's particularly dry or particularly vulnerable to catching fire, something like that may get out of hand a little bit quickly. So that's the case for today. The National Weather Service kind of outlines the same thing. Obviously, outdoor burning always discouraged when we're in any sort of fire danger conditions, but just recognizing the risk, we are in a high fire danger situation. So be careful with those fireworks tonight. I do believe that our reporter Hunter King is going to have a little bit more information about fireworks safety tonight at 5 p.m. So you can learn a little bit more information from him later if you're looking for more tips and tricks for at-home fireworks. But I just wanted to throw that out there for this evening. Definitely want to make sure everybody stays safe in their celebrating. So obviously, with everything I just said, we're going to have some pretty clear weather tonight. No chance of rain for the overnight hours tonight, which means by the time the ball is dropping, the buzzard is dropping, the shamrock is lighting up, it is going to be completely clear tonight. And actually, we kick off January 1st with completely clear conditions as well. So if you're looking to get your New Year's resolutions into play, maybe exercising was one of those things, tomorrow should be a great day to kind of kick things off. Completely blue skies like what you see out there right now, and it will be a quiet day overall. Friday, as you can see, something different is on the way. So by Friday morning, we got some cloud cover beginning to increase across the area. I want to make it clear, most of Friday is actually going to be a pretty dry day. As we go throughout the afternoon, you'll definitely deal with some cloud cover. It probably won't be the best looking day, but by Friday evening, we will start to enter some rain chances into the area. We've just got a couple of scattered showers that are pushing our way by Friday evening. You can see kind of the bulk of the rain is up there in North Georgia, but we do get a couple of stray showers on Friday evening and really late night Friday night. The bulk of this rainfall situation is going to be an all-day Saturday thing. So don't necessarily think that Friday is going to be a situation where you can't get outdoors. You definitely should still be able to enjoy outdoor plans on Friday, go out to dinner, just kind of do all the things that you need to do without having to worry about rainfall. But by late night Friday night, 11 p.m. and beyond, overnight into early Saturday, that's when things start to look a little bit messier. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be a heavy downpour situation. You can kind of even just tell from the future view. It looks like the downpours, the darker reds, the yellows, they stay further up in North Georgia. Here in Central Georgia, Saturday it looks like we're going to be getting a lot of scattered showers. So hopefully on Saturday it's a situation where you can kind of duck and dodge showers from time to time, but I definitely don't think we're going to have pure sunshine like we have out there today. It's going to be a little bit of a messier looking Saturday. Here's the long range. Obviously, the high resolution short range models only take us out to about Saturday at 4 a.m. So we pick up here with the long range models, and it's just the same kind of thing. We've got these just showers that are across our area throughout basically the entire day on Saturday. So overall, I think you're going to have to at least factor in the chance that there's going to be a little bit of rainfall out there on Saturday. I do think from time to time there'll be moments where you can step outside without having to worry about it, but overall it's going to be one of those rain jacket or umbrella in the car type of situations because you could get stuck in a shower throughout any point on the day on Saturday. The good news is it's not a wash of a weekend. Remember, you can still get outside on Friday. Sunday, all of this will be moving on and we'll actually have a completely clear end to the weekend. It's really just that middle portion. Saturday's the day that's just not going to be looking so good. We'll close out the weekend and actually kick off next work week with completely dry conditions. So that's kind of our only major rain chance on the 7-day forecast, and major is a term that I use lightly. Remember, like I said, I think the bulk of the heavier rainfall will be up in North Georgia. Here in Central Georgia, maybe a few spots might get close to seeing an inch of rainfall, so there could be 1 or 2 downpours throughout the day, but overall, unfortunately, the rainfall totals from this still look to be somewhat unimpressive. So I think that's kind of why we're in a scattered shower situation. You should be able to kind of duck and dodge these throughout the day. Of course, we would want more rainfall, but that's what we're looking at for the time being. We haven't had a ton of rainfall over the last 5 days. This is what we've been able to accumulate. This is from the cold front that rolled through the area, and in heaviest spots, we only saw up to close to ½ an inch. So it wasn't really a big rainmaker that came through. If you're curious, obviously today is the last day of December and the last day of the year. It was another below average month for us here in Central Georgia. We only tacked on 2¼ inches of rainfall here in our area. For the month of December here in Central Georgia, we are supposed to be seeing over 4.5 inches of rainfall. So fell way below average once again for another month, which is why we are still in drought conditions here in central Georgia. Now, if you have been paying attention to this for the last couple of months, you know just by looking, this is actually not quite as bad as it's been in the past. We've actually had some improvement to this over the month of December. 2.25 inches of rainfall may not seem like it was a huge difference maker in the drought conditions, but it actually did make the difference for us here in central Georgia, especially the difference between keeping us out of the extreme drought conditions and keeping us in the severe drought conditions. Now, we really only have severe drought conditions over towards the west. Counties like Peach, Crawford, Taylor, and Macon are still dealing with severe drought, but over in the rest of central Georgia, pretty much everybody else is in a moderate drought, which is somewhat manageable. Obviously, we need a good rainmaker to kind of kick this out of our area altogether, but overall, it was a lot worse about a month ago, and now we're kind of trending in a positive direction. So yes, the drought does still exist out there across central Georgia right now, but it does look a little bit better. Will the rainfall that we see over the weekend make a huge difference? Unfortunately, I don't think so. We're still falling below an inch probably in most spots, but we'll take what we can get, and hopefully that can just add towards our rainfall total in the month of January as a whole. So that's kind of where things stand for rainfall. Obviously, that's only half the story. We got to talk a little bit about temperatures as we climb into the rest of the year and kick off the upcoming new year. So it's a pretty good end you saw weather-wise to this year, but we are going to be on a warming trend. I kind of hinted at that at the beginning. Temperatures are going to be getting a little bit warmer each day, and then obviously we did touch on the rain chance for the weekend. So I told you to kind of pay attention to our afternoon high or our average high for this time of year, because it is going to be kind of an important factor in the forecast for the next couple of days. The average high for this time of year, like I mentioned earlier, is 59 degrees. So as we make our way through the rest of the week, we are in the low 50s today, so we're sitting below average. By New Year's Day, which is tomorrow, we're going to be at 60 degrees for the high temperature. That is going to be a little bit closer to average for this time of year. Obviously, it's a little over, but that's about as close as we can get without being exactly on par for the average. As we head into the weekend, the rain chances will actually briefly have us in the mid 60s. So what you see here for Saturday is a little bit anomalous because of the rainfall that's going to be out there. And that rainfall is coming in from the southwest. We've got this low pressure system tracking into our area. So we're going to get a bunch of southwesterly flow down from the Gulf. It's going to bring us some moisture and a lot of warm air advection from down there. So kind of just put Saturday out of your mind. It's a little bit warm because of the rainfall that we have moving into the area. But we're going to be hanging out. In fact, you will see this number 63 degrees on a lot of days on the 7-day forecast. So we're going to be hanging out 3 to 4 degrees above average for this time of year for the long-term forecast, at least as it stands right now. I know there's going to be a lot of discussion around that. We had a Christmas Eve and a Christmas Day that were record-breaking and record-meeting. We're not going to be anywhere near that. We're definitely going to be a few degrees above average, but overall it's closer to where we should be for this time of year. How does that shape out in the overnights? Kind of in a similar place, but overnight we're going to be a little bit warmer than we should be for this time of year, but a bit more than we are in the afternoons. So obviously this morning was very cold here in Macon. We did hit a low temperature of 28 degrees, maybe even 27 if that ends up verifying. And then tomorrow we start the warming trend in the other direction. So we'll be in the low 30s tomorrow, probably still near or below freezing for just about everybody. Definitely still cold, don't get me wrong, but take note of the average low for this time of year, 36 degrees. So kind of where we should be for this time of year. By Friday, we're almost again exactly on average. Then by Saturday, remember, we're gonna have the rainfall coming in. It's gonna be extremely warm. That's a little bit of a different story. But Sunday, that's kind of where the lows are going to be hanging out, somewhere in the low 40s. So the overnight lows are going to get pretty warm as we go through the next couple of days. Overall, yes, we are trending above average for this time of year in both the afternoons and in the overnights, but it's not terribly above average for this time of year, if that makes sense. I don't necessarily think we're going to be breaking or meeting records as we go through the upcoming week and into the weekend. I think we're just going to be a little bit warmer than we should be for this time of year, which, trust me, here in central Georgia, we are not unfamiliar with. So with that, this is kind of what the 7-day forecast looks like here. Obviously, we couldn't ask for a better forecast for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. It's going to be pretty chilly as we head out tonight to celebrate the holiday, but that's kind of expected as we kick off the month of January. Other than that, clear skies, smooth sailing, fireworks shows, any of that should be great tonight. Just be careful at home, fireworks shows with the winds. Other than that, things should be smooth. We got that rain chance late night Friday into most of the day Saturday. This is probably your most notable day on the 7-day forecast. We've got some pretty good showers that will be moving through on the day Saturday, but quickly drying up. As we head into Sunday, we stay much drier, and then we kick off next work week with some much drier conditions. So as you're kicking off your work week, kind of getting out of that fog of Christmas in between New Year's and just getting back to work, getting back to normal life, things will also be getting back to normal outside as well. It won't be a super weird start to the week. Hopefully we'll have some sunshine and we'll stay dry all the way through Tuesday. Remember, temperatures are going to go above average, but I don't think we're going to necessarily be breaking or meeting any records as we go throughout the next week. We'll be hanging out in the low to mid 60s in terms of high temperatures. The overnight lows will fluctuate into the upper 30s and the low 40s, with the exception of Saturday being at 49. So overall, I'd say it's a fairly positive forecast. Hopefully we can tack on some better rainfall totals than what is projected as of right now. Some areas tend to overperform, so we'll kind of see what happens with that. Enjoy New Year's Eve this evening. Again, if you're looking for more fireworks safety information, you can learn more from our reporter Hunter King later this evening. And other than that, I hope everybody has a safe and restful end to 2025 and a great start to the new year. I'll be back again tomorrow morning for another look at the forecast. Until then, have a great day.